Hi friends, today is Thursday, July 28th, and you should be reading 2 Chronicles 24, 2 Kings 12, Psalm 50, and Matthew 9. And when I was finished reading 2 Chronicles 24, the first thought I had was we need to be careful who we let speak into our life. The first half of Joash's story, he has this prophet, Jehoiada, who speaks into his life, who convinces Joash to repair the temple, to follow God, and to lead the nation well. But when the prophet dies, and Joash starts listening to these officials who don't love God very much, and he starts doing weird things. He leads people towards idols. He murders another prophet. Like, Joash, his whole life changed based on the people he was listening to. And that's very true of our lives. The people we hang out with and the people we spend the most time with change our lives. And if you don't believe me, let me give you just a little example. When you talk with your friends, the people you spend the most time with, you tend to start talking like that, like them. You pick up the same phrases and the way they say things a lot. I mean, I know I do this. I say things that the people around me say all the time. And it's not because I'm trying to copy them. It's just because we hang out. So I hear it all the time, so I start saying it. And I mean, that's true of everything in our lives. The people we spend the time with, the things they do and the things they say affect us. And we start to think those things are okay, or we should say those things. And sometimes it's not even intentional. It just kind of happens. And so it's really, really important for us to think about who's speaking into our lives. When Joash had people who spoke into his life and led him towards God and kept him accountable to God, he did great. He led the nation well. But when he had people who spoke into his life against God and he didn't want to do what he originally was doing. He totally changed. It feels like a snap of a finger change, but it was probably a lot slower than the reading make it seem. You know, at first it's just this one thing, and then it's this other thing, and then next thing you know, it's everything. And we don't want to be like Joash. We want to keep our lives focused on God for our entire lives. And we want to be careful who's speaking into our lives. But we also want to make sure that the people we hang out with, we're encouraging them, that we're good influences on our friends and family. But I also want to remind you that we're still called to hang out with people, to be friends with people that don't love God. We're called to show them Jesus and to change their lives. But we want to make sure that in that process, we're not becoming like them, but they're becoming like us. And so we need to make sure that while we're called to share the gospel with everybody. And while we're doing that, we just want to make sure that we're not losing ourselves in the process and going the wrong direction, but rather we're leading other people towards Jesus. And one of the ways to guard yourself from going the wrong way, from moving away from God, is to have a core group of people in your lives who love Jesus and who follow God. Because again, the people you spend the most time with are the ones who are going to influence your life the most. The people you're going to become like because you spend so much time with them. And so I encourage you guys today to think about your friends and your family and how you're influencing them and how you're being a good leader for them towards Christ. And if you don't think you're being a good leader, start thinking about how you can better influence your friends. And not even like intentionally influencing, just by your actions and what you say will influence other people. And so you want to be aware that what you're saying and doing is always pointing towards God and always pointing towards Jesus, because it makes a difference for your best friends and for the people you haven't met before and just see you in the grocery store. Showing the love of Christ, no matter what you're doing, is the most important thing. And as you're doing that, I encourage you to make sure that you are always pointing towards Jesus. Until we see you again, you